Hello, my name is Leo. Welcome back to Dragonborn. In the last episode, we've come back into this cave that I've already been before, because I want to clear it. And whoa, what was that? Oh, jeez! Ambush! And I'm just gonna take these weaklings out, stab him in the chest. Suck it, buddy. Suck it. Okay. Alright. What else you got for me, huh? Is that it? Well, there's this door, of course. Oh, did I even... I never came down this far. I must have been doing a mission. I think I was doing a mission and I got whatever I needed, so I hightailed it out of there. Oh, well, I'm glad I did come down here, because after all, there is some stuff for me to discover. So, on to the Great Hall then, I guess. Or did I actually go to the Great Hall before? I actually cannot remember. I sort of... No, I really can't remember. Yeah, well, let's check it out then. Well, there's a whole bunch of books. There's a big pile of... Why would there be telekinesis? That's a bit out of place. So there's a big bunch of the lusty Argonian maids piled up here. So volume 1 and volume 2. Now I think the one I read was volume 2? Oh, does that mean there's another thing for me to read? I mean, which one did I read before? I'm not going to read it now. I'm going to find out which one I read before. And then we'll read the other one maybe in a future episode. Stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed it the first time I read it. Oh, jeez. Oh, God, I had to do that voice. Oh, the voice. I forgot about that. Oh, I don't know if I really want to do that. These weaklings are real perverts. They have a whole bunch of Debella statues just because Debella has breasts. And then they've got all these friggin' lusty Argonian maid books because they're into their smut, I guess. Jeez, man. Bunch of pervy little midgets. Oh, this one's kind of hard to open. Let's just... Oh, here we go. A little to the left. Little more. And that. Left. Some more left. No, you're going too far left. Okay. So go here. Done. Dragon language, myth no more. That is a long ass book. Oh, dude, this is a long ass book. Dude, this is a long ass book. I want to read it, but I shouldn't, because I'm sure you guys will get bored. Oh, like a key. Sweet. And a chest. An amulet of arcane. Huh. I haven't seen one of those in a while. Do I have to say? Alright, I'm reading this book. Sorry guys. Tell you what, If you guys don't like listening, can you get out of the way, dog? If you guys don't listen to me read books, just, I don't know, wait for the next episode to come out and watch that. But pretty much, well, we're only 5 minutes into this episode. It's probably not going to take us 10 minutes to read this. It's fine. Just do it. Alright. So, Dragon Language, Myth No More, by Hero Thrice First. Dragon. The very word conjures nightmare images of shadowed skies, hideous roaring and endless fire. Indeed, the dragons were terrifying beasts that they were. What? Indeed, the dragons were terrifying beasts that were once as numerous as they were deadly. But what most Nords don't realize is that the dragons were in fact not simple, mindless beasts. Indeed, they were a thriving, intelligent culture, one bent on elimination or enslavement of any non-dragon civilization in the entire world. It therefore stands to reason that the dragons would require a way to communicate with one another, that they would need to speak, and through such research, scholars have determined that this is exactly what the dragons did. For the mighty roars of the beasts, even when those roars contained fire or ice or some other deadly magic, were actually much more. They were words. Words in an ancient, though decipherable tongue. Nonsense, you say? Sheer folly on the part of some over-eager academics? I thought precisely the same thing. But then I started hearing rumours. The odd snippet of a conversation from some brave explorer or gold-coveting crypt delver. And always it was the same word repeated. Wall. So I listened more. I began to arrange the pieces of the puzzle and slowly unravel the mystery. Spread throughout Skyrim, in ancient dungeons, burial grounds and other secluded places, there are walls. Black, ominous walls, on which is written a script so old, so unknown. None had encountered it. None who had encountered it could even begin its translation. Alright, pause for a bit of water. In my heart, I came to know the truth. This was proof of the ancient dragon language. Wait, there's an exclamation mark. This was proof of the ancient dragon language! But what else could it possibly be? It only made sense that these walls were constructed by the ancient Nords. Nords who had lived in the time of the dragons, and out of fear or respect had somehow learned and used the language of the ancient beasts. But at that point, all I had was my own gut instinct. What I needed was proof. Thus began the adventure of my life. One spanning 17 months and the deaths of 3 courageous guides and 2 sellsword protectors. But I chose not to dwell on these grim details, for the end result was so glorious it made my hardships worth it. In my travels I found many of ancient walls, and every suspicion proved true. It did in fact appear as if ancient Nords had copied the language of the dragons of old, for the characters of that language very much resemble claw marks or scratches. One could almost envision a majestic dragon using his great sharp talons to carve these symbols into the stone itself. And a human witness, possibly even a thrall or servant, learning, observing, so that he too could use the language for his own ends. For as I observed the walls I noticed something peculiar about some of the words. It was as if they pulsed with a kind of power, an unknown energy that, if unlocked, might be harnessed by the reader. That sounds like nonsense, I know, but if you had stood by these walls, seen the blackness, felt their power, you would understand that of which I speak. Thankfully, although entranced, I was able to retain enough sense to actually transcribe the characters I saw. And in doing so, I began to see patterns in the language, patterns that allowed me to decipher what I was reading. For example, I transcribed the following passage. Assigning these scratchings to actual Tamrielic language characters, I further translated what I saw into this. Het nok vugna gal kanuf wow dre valmon alfud darkrosus nusin shruk dukan, which translates into the Tamrielic as follows. Here lies Vagnor Ghostbear, who did seek glory in the battlefield of sorrows, but instead found death and dishonor. Then, in another crypt, I encountered a wall with this transcription. Which translates into Hek nok kopan lo ikl is sos wo grand et oblan ni kos makai vokenus ak mugix fucking hell do il kasur kasa, which ultimately translates into the Tamrielic as, here lies the body of Ingot Iceblood, who met his end not in glorious combat, but at the cruel touch of the withering sickness. And there you can see the pattern, the repeated words, here lies, which could only mean one thing. These walls marked actual ancient Nord burial grounds. You can imagine my nearly incontainable excitement. It all started to make sense. The ancient Nords used dragon language for these walls for very specific reasons. One of them was obviously to mark the grave of some important figure. But what else? Were they all graves? Or did they serve other purposes as well? I set off to find out, and was well rewarded for my efforts. Here is what I discovered. This passage. Translate into this. Het ma chadush tau skoli lun sigar wen clove guri now rik hakun rock togat wa got, which in the Tamrielic translates into this. Here fell the treacherous thief, Scorly Lichfingers, whose head was removed by the very axe he was attempting to steal. So here we see a wall that marks the spot where some significant ancient Nord died. This passage translates into Oskol Rakul Danik Fali Ki Do Galim Flod Wo Bovo Mo Ma Neo I give up. Which in the Tamrielic translates into this. This stone commemorates the doomed elf children of the Autumn Field, who fled in terror from the sharp swords of the ancient enemy. This wall seems to commemorate some ancient, long-forgotten event in Tamrielic history. Whether that event occurred on or near the place where the wall was erected, we will probably never know. And finally, thank God, this passage. Blah 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 blah, which translates into this. Aesa walan galakko Briledi Fridruk Gosus Fin Tor Wen Smolin Flin O Sagor Helm, which in the Tamrielic translates to this. Ayasar raised this stone for her sister, Thelod, the Inferno, whose passion burned as hot as the Red Forge. This wall, and I encountered quite a few more like this, was obviously commissioned or built by a specific person to honor someone important to them. What was the significance of the location? Was it important to the person who had died, or was it the actual location of the person's death? Again, these answers are probably lost in time, and we will never know. And so you see, ancient dragon language is indeed myth no more. It existed. No shit. But better yet, it still exists. And probably will until the end of time, thanks to the ancient Nords and their construction of these many word walls. But don't take my word for it, for the walls are there for the discovering. In Skyrim's dangerous, secret places, they serve as a bridge between the realm of the ancient Nords and our own. The dragons may never return to our world. Well, guess what, they did. But now, we can return to theirs. And someday, we may even unlock the strange, unknown power in the words. Guess what? I already did, but whatever. That's a nice thing to say. Well, we didn't really go that far over. We're only about 2 minutes over. So when we come back, we will actually get on and do this. Oh, and that reminds me, I need to check up on the Lusty Argonian Maid, just in case we need to read that one next episode. But for now, my name is Leo, and I will see you next time.